So this is pretty much meat candy. I mean, you have that beautiful sugary bourbon glaze on there, that pop of citrus, those green onions. I mean, this all is just gonna work really well together. Hi, I'm Charles Hunter, and I'm a personal chef and blogger here in Nashville, Tennessee. What we're gonna be doing today is making some bourbon glazed meatballs. They come together in no time at all. You probably have most of the ingredients in your pantry. So we're gonna start with our ground beef here. And then we're gonna go ahead and just add our breadcrumbs. We have our eggs here. We're gonna break these into the bowl. Just that way we can double check for shells. We're gonna go ahead and add our onions here. You could kind of sweat the onions or even caramelize them. We're gonna go ahead with about a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna go ahead with a teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. And then we're gonna break open some garlic. We're just gonna grate this in here. All right, now we're gonna mix all this together. Keep mixing this until we don't see any more egg and all of the other ingredients look evenly distributed. And now we're just gonna portion these out. And what I highly recommend is if you have an ice cream scoop, use that. If you don't have an ice cream scoop, just simply use a spoon and just kind of eyeball that you're doing them relatively the same size just so they cook evenly. And what I like to do is just go ahead and portion out all of my meat just to kind of speed up the process as I get ready to brown them in the skillet. So we're just gonna roll these a little bit in our hand just to kind of give them more solid form. All right, so our pan is hot enough now. I can see a little bit of smoke starting to come off of it. I'm gonna go ahead and add in just a little bit of oil. You can use whatever you want, whether it be olive oil or vegetable or avocado. You just don't want it to get smoky. You just want the pan to be just hot enough. Now, if you're doing a lot of these, you definitely want to do them in batches so that you don't crowd the pan, because if you crowd the pan, they're going to start to steam and you're going to have a lot of juice running around the skillet, and then they're going to be a sad gray color, and we want to get that beautiful caramelization on them. When the meatballs themselves will tell you when they're ready to be flipped, because they'll have a nice sear on the bottom and they'll just come up really easily. So here we have a perfect example of what you're looking for. We have that beautiful caramelization on about 3 sides. And these are all pretty much ready to come out of here. Now that we've removed all of the meatballs from the skillet and we have them on our sheet pan, we have our oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we're just gonna go in for about 10 minutes or until they reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees. And now we're gonna move on to our bourbon glaze for the meatballs. So we have all this nice, beautiful caramelization here on the pan. We have little crispy bits of onion. We're just gonna go in here with some beef broth. We're gonna go in here with our Worcestershire. We're gonna go in here with our brown sugar. So we're gonna turn our heat back up a little bit because we kind of want this to start to simmer and bubble. At the same time, we're also gonna be scraping the bottom of the pan to remove all of those little crispy meat bits, that fond that came from us caramelizing our meatballs. So what you want to happen is you want it to just beautifully coat your spoon is what you're looking for. And as soon as it does that, and you have this really like nice shimmery thing happening in your pan, we're gonna add our bourbon. And we're just gonna let that alcohol just kind of reduce a little bit. So this is beautifully bubbling. And we're just looking for it to be able to coat our spoon. And you want it to reduce a good bit, probably by half. So we have achieved what we're looking for. We have a beautiful dark amber. Here is coating the spoon really nicely. That's gonna glaze the meatballs really nicely. So we're just gonna turn our heat off. When I'm preparing a dish, whether it be entertaining or whether I'm just cooking for myself, is think about the garnish. And I'm gonna use some chives today because they work really well with savory dishes. And then we're just gonna take a little bit of orange zest. You can also use lemon zest. I find that lemon zest works really well on beef dishes. So our meatballs are ready to come out of the oven. I've already returned our bourbon glaze back to the eye, turned the heat up to about medium, and this is gonna start to loosen back up. As you can see, while it's set, it got really nice and caramely. And we have our beautiful meatballs here, ready to go. So we're just going to go ahead and add these back in here. And now we're just gonna slowly move these around the pan and let them get coated. So now that we have our meatballs beautifully coated in our bourbon glaze, we're now going to place them onto our serving dish. And now we're just going to pour the rest of that beautiful bourbon caramel over these meatballs. We're going to go with the orange zest first, and always sprinkle your garnish from up high so that you get even distribution and everything has a little bit of the garnish on it. And then just go over there with the chives and just kind of with wild abandon, just let them go all over the plate. So this is pretty much meat candy. I mean, you have that beautiful sugary bourbon glaze on there, that pop of citrus, those green onions. I mean, this all is just gonna work really well together. For this recipe and other great entertaining recipes, go to tnbeef.org.